All right, welcome back to 100% Canadian Maple Syrup, where if you're not upset, we haven't done our job yet. And I guarantee you won't be able to watch this video tonight without getting upset and possibly laughing. But before we start, don't let Big Tech, Google, and Billy Boy Gates be the ones who decide who get to see this video and hear the truth. I want you to become a distributor of this channel and obviously your favorite videos. Share them out with your friends. Please smash the like button and subscribe if you haven't already, as always. And now that we've got the plugs out of the way, let's get started on the article. Going to enable the share screen here, and we will be going live this Wednesday at 11 p.m. New York Standard Time, Canadian Eastern. All right, let's bring that up. So, if you haven't heard about it, is it working yet? John Dillerman, which roughly to John Wienerman, is a children's cartoon. So let's check this out. John Dillerman, or John Penis Man, John Weenie Man, or Wienerman, is a Danish stop-motion animated children's television series about a man and his very long penis. Huh? It premiered on January 3rd, 2021 on DR Ramasjang. DR Ramasjang. There's currently 15 episodes. Each one is 5 minutes. So anyways, the premise of the show is John Dillerman is a middle-aged man. He's a middle-aged man who wears a red and white striped bathing costume, much like Where's Waldo. He has a penis that can extend to the length of dozens of meters. John uses his prehensile penis, which means it's like a monkey's tail, which stretches through his clothes as a tool, such as to tame lions or to fly about like a helicopter. But it also often acts independently of John, getting him into trouble. Sounds pretty strange. Development broadcast. The series is aimed at 4 to 8-year-olds and was developed by Danish broadcaster DR in association with the Sex Ed Education Association, Sex and Sam Fund. It premiered on the 3rd of January, 20th, 21st on DR Children's channel, DR Ramasjang. The first season, consisting of 13 5-minute episodes, was available on the internet on the 2nd of January, 2021. The reception of John Dillerman was popular in Denmark upon release, with 250,000 children, oh my God, viewing the first episode in the first 5 days and went viral. The series has found fans among Danish TV personalities and children. According to a DR executive, children were making snowmen, oh my God, drawings, dolls, and songs about John Dillerman. Jesus. Catherine Bennett of The Guardian praised the series as something that British leaders could learn from and compared the cartoon's protagonist to British Prime Minister Boris Johnson. Oh my God. A gender studies professor of I don't support Boris Johnson. As far as I know, he's got no sexual assault allegations against him, so I think that's a very inappropriate comment to make. A gender studies professor of Rockslide University, Christian Groves, criticized the series for perpetuating the standard idea of patriarchal society and normalizing locker room culture, which has been used as an excuse for bad behavior from men. The series' unusual premise was criticized by some viewers as normalizing rape culture and pandering to pedophiles, oh my goodness, or as making light of the #MeToo movement against sexual violence against women. The DR executive said that the series was part of DR's ambition to make children's content that dares to tackle embarrassing, difficult, quirky, and funny topics. Topics like saving people from a lion with your penis or flying around with your penis like a helicopter. Those kind of topics. That it was about being true to oneself and one's flaws, and that it acknowledged children's curiosity about the human bodies. He said that the series was as desexualized as it could possibly get, besides the fact that the guy's waving his dick everywhere, and that it was developed together with child psychologists, one of the most reputable of all professions, the child psychologist, and other professionals who reviewed the scripts to ensure that children wouldn't misinterpret what they saw. How could you misinterpret that, So, just make a few comments before we move on to the next page. Of course, he's a middle-aged man. He's got a damn hat on. It's a yellow hat. So, he looks very strange. It's aimed at 4 to 8 year olds rather. So, I had said before, if this was something that was developed just for schools and just for classrooms and was, maybe for kids like age like 13 to 16, when they're starting to go into, whatever the fuck that's called, what's it called there? Puberty, maybe they could use that as an educational tool, but this is on the Danish Public Broadcaster and it's aimed at 4 to 8 year olds. So I think that's a little bit messed up. And in fact, it was, like I said, it was made in association with the Sex Education Association for Danish. What the fuck is Danish called? Anyways, I went through this last time. It's called Denmark. Let's go on to the next thing there. And again, for me, it's not about normalizing rape culture or anything like that. What do 4 to 6 year olds do? It already says here that they're drawing pictures of them, making dolls, making snowmen. That means they're making all those things with giant wieners on them, and it's being encouraged. They're singing songs about a guy with a giant dick. If that's not messed up, I don't know what is. And let's go on to the next thing here. Danish kids show about a man with a magic penis is innocent and goofy, says TV critic. Now, notably, this TV critic is not from this part of the world, but, it's pretty strange. Anyways, you'll see her reaction. And you'll probably be shaking your head. Now, John Dillerman, which roughly translates to John Wienerman, is sparking controversy in Denmark. CBC Radio posted January 7th, 2021, 5:43 p.m. Last updated January 8th. And this, as far as I know, this article doesn't have an author, which is funny because the next article we're going to read after this doesn't have an author either. It's written anonymously. And, might I say, how crappy is that fucking animation, by the way? It doesn't even have eyes. Look, he's playing with himself, guys. Look, it's so funny. He's playing with himself. See? He's playing tennis. I don't know how the hell that this was made. All right, so let's go on. A children's TV show about a man who's unnaturally long and magic penis gets him into all sorts of trouble is very Danish and nothing to fret over, says a TV critic who watched every single episode. And, I got to say, I don't think it's a magic penis. I think it's more like an X-Men mutant kind of situation. The claymation show, John Dillerman, which airs on the Danish Public Broadcaster, which is like the equivalent of the CBC here in Canada, as I can imagine, is aimed at children's ages 4 through 8 years old. So far, it's proved popular, but according to The Guardian, it's also causing a stir in the country among those who think it's inappropriate for young people, or that it sends the wrong message in the Me Too era. Again, I think it's just, why should kids be thinking about anything to do with waving their dicks around when they're 4 or 8 years old? Or even like I even said before, I haven't watched the show. I don't really intend to. But I mean, if this was for adults, I think it'd be hilarious. Like if it was for, some kind of a robot chicken sketch, I'm sure it will be a robot chicken sketch soon enough. But anyways, so far it's proved popular. We read that. But Ida Rudd, beautiful name for a wonderful woman. Ida Rudd, a freelance film and TV critic, has seen every episode of John Dillerman and says it's all just silly fun. Here's part of her conversation with, as it happens, host Carol Off. This is the question here, as you can see. How on earth does a TV show for preschoolers about a man who cannot control his magic penis even get past the pitch stage? The pitch stage. She says, I think it's very Danish, a very Danish way of making children's television. And I read this before, and I do this whole thing because it's very bad grammar. So I'm just going to let you know, she's from Denmark. This has horrible grammar, and I'm going to read it as is. So I'm not messing this up. Anyways, how on earth does this get past the censors? It's for preschoolers, she asked. I think it's a very Danish way of making children television where there's kind of no rules as long as no one is getting hurt. And if it's silly, also, I mean, that's just the plus. People were like, this is courageous and silly, so why not do it? I mean, it's totally innocent and goofy. What you say? It is very Danish. We're kind of laid back in some ways and also like to have a very dark sense of humor. Well, I don't know what's dark about this. It's very light. There's nothing dark about this at all. Look, the guy's floating away in front of these kids. And look at how well the other animation is done. You know, it's just some dollar store toys. There's a picture down below, and it's a picture of a dollar store line. Like, I remember seeing that in those big jumbo bags of toys. This show is so low budget. Anyway, it is very Danish. We're kind of laid back in some ways, and also like to have a dark sense of humor, and also to, of course, I don't think it's anyone. I don't think anyone is surprised that the show caused an outrage, but maybe so huge was a bit of a surprise. And speaking of huge, this is the interviewer. This is the issue, right? Can you describe the character? First of all, his name's John Dillerman, and the character in the show, and this is a cartoon. What does this all mean? You know, the issue is not the size for me. As any lady could tell you, size doesn't matter. It's how you use it. If his dick was not visible and in his pants and not mentioned, then you know this would be a different show. I had some wheat cookies today. I'm sorry I'm laughing at this so much, but it's just so damn ridiculous. Now it gets darker, don't worry. Like a childish term for penis with the man attached. So Wienerman, so the name itself is enough to make children laugh because anytime you say wiener, it's funny. And you know, there's nothing more than school teachers like than kids laughing about wieners and drawing wieners in school. He lives with his great grandmother, who's this old conservative, a bit scared lady, like, put away that put that away, John. You can't go showing your penis, and you can't use that to pick apples, and you can't use that to walk your dog. You know, we all know it's very conservative to keep your pecker away from dogs and to not use them to pick apples. It's just a conservative thing. You know, I don't know why she's framing that as conservative. It's just so silly. But the penis has a mind of its own, she says. Oh gosh, what does his penis look like? Could you imagine they're talking about a children's cartoon? Oh gosh, what does his penis look like? If you don't understand the language and you just saw it like a trailer for the show, I don't think you would know it was a penis. And you'd think it was some kind of tail of some sort because it's just red and white stripes. It's like his bathing suit and it's just very long. It's slim tail. There's no scrotum. There's no pubic hair. There's nothing realistic about his penis. It's short and long, and sometimes you can't see it. And it can pick apples from the tree and pick up the neighbor if he's being a pain in the butt. She says, that's what she says. Pick up the neighbor if he's being a pain in the butt. You know, she's got a weird sense of humor. You know, she's Danish and everything. Oh boy. The fact that his penis is touching the neighbor, there you go. Red flag. You know, I just don't see how anybody would think that this is okay. And you know, it's not about the penis being realistic. It's the fact that it's a penis. If it was a tail, this would be a whole other story. This would be a great show if this was about a tail. If this was about a dude with a tail, that would be fine with me. There's no problem. And look at this picture. Like I said, dollar store lion, and look at down here. It's like it's like one of those hypnotizing thingies. It's almost like they're trying to brainwash children. And look, here's the so-called kids. They're like, again, little plastic figurines. And who's that behind them? Where this man is waving his wiener around. Why, it's Friendly Ice Cream Man. And we all know that ice cream men have never had a negative stigma around children and this kind of issue about waving their wieners around. Not saying that the ice cream men do that. I'm just saying it's a pretty obvious stereotype that they're just throwing in your face. They're laughing at you guys. Okay, so he does some heroic, or his penis does some heroic things. But well, the penis gets him into trouble from time to time, doesn't it? She says, for instance, the penis wants an ice cream, and the great grandmother says, no, you can't take an ice cream. And then they go to the zoo and it sees an ice cream truck and it steals the ice cream. And because of all this, a lion gets out and chases the children around. And John is about to say, "Oh, I can't handle all this. I'll just go away and leave it to someone else." But then he's like, "No, I have to handle this. I have to take care of this problem." And then his penis is slapping the lion. So it goes back in, and it's like, if he was to just go away, then is his penis not attached? And if they're trying to teach children about not being able to control themselves, or I mean, I don't know what the show's about, but if that's the subtext, then why wouldn't he just leave? Why would he start slapping the lion around with his penis? I don't know. It's just so strange. It's just so strange. So there's the wonderful woman, Ida Rudd. And, obviously she's not single. She doesn't live alone, and she doesn't have a million cats. Ida Rudd is a Danish freelance film and TV critic. And the picture is credited by Ida Rudd. Now, again, I know there are people in Canada and the United States that are listening to this and thinking there's no way that this could be made anyplace else, or any place at all, in my opinion. But it is true that there are people in Denmark who think that this shouldn't be made. What ... criticisms of this show have you seen? There's like two camps, and there's this one is the obvious, that's with the parents who are appalled that someone would have a grown man's penis on a kid's show. They think it's perverse. They think it's a gateway for pedophiles to groom their children, and teaching children that, oh, the male penis is not something that you should be scared of. If someone comes into the playground and pulls it out, it's just fun and games. Especially someone dressed like he is. And this pretty much sums it up for me. And also the fact that they're going to imitate the guy, because kids imitate things that they like. I used to play Pokemon. I used to play Dragon Ball Z. Wah, 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 wah. Can you imagine a bunch of kids just taking out their dicks in the classroom and swinging them around? I mean, for fuck's sakes, this is craziness. It's absolute fucking craziness. Recently, we had like a second wave, a second discussion / debate about Me Too. And because of this, people are like, oh, why do we always have men like, oh, the penis is doing it? It's not my fault. The penis has a mind of its own. And it shouldn't be at fault, and I shouldn't be at fault for this. Kind of maybe like grown men abusing their power in Me Too relations. Because we all know we've had our penis just, come out of our pants and start sexually assaulting lions. Like, what? She says, I'm a feminist myself. But when I saw the show, I didn't think of this at all. I just thought it was hilarious and silly. But I get that it's bad timing and that there's a show about a male character with a big penis. I'm just hoping that the second season or the first season of a completely new show would have a female lead character with a vulva or long titties or something like that. Again, Ida Rudd. Hit her up on social media and let her know what you think about her wonderful opinions on children's TV programming. Ida Rudd. She's probably single, guys, if you want to hit her up and you're in Denmark, you're watching this fine program. What in the fuck? Some people are just fucked in the head. Swedish man. No, oh, sorry. But as you point out, there's nothing sexual about this. And like, I don't know how you stay in the interview after someone says that. That's just very strange. She said, but as you point out, there's nothing sexual about this. And kids that age especially think that penises and vaginas and vulvas are hilarious, right? And they shouldn't think that it's hilarious. They should think that they should not be thinking about that stuff. Man, this is screwy. I had a problem last time. I had to do this whole thing because I just spent the whole time getting pissed off. Exactly. That's what I'm thinking, she says. And also, I think it's important that children don't feel inhibited by their body. What? Their sexuality, I mean. It's too early for children that age to feel awkward about having a penis or about having a vagina. What? But in time, we have a lot of problems with children and young adults who feel insecure about their bodies. They don't shower, she says, after having gym in school because they don't want to be seen naked. And we all know it's a real psychological barrier not wanting to be seen naked in school by your peers. Because we all know in the world growing up in offices when you're working, everybody has to strip naked and shower. All the guys got to shower and see each other naked, and all the girls got to shower and see each other naked. It's just a fact of office life. there's nothing wrong with not wanting to be seen naked. And, you know, if I had any part in it, I would make that illegal. I think that there's enough money in the budget that kids should have a place to shower without being seen by people. In fact, I don't even know why they're showering at school in the first place. But, you know, I mean, after gym or whatever, I don't know. I don't think it's, you know, I think it's messed up. Schedule gym at the end of the day, for fuck's sakes. Anyway, onward and upward. Let's finish this. And she says, I think this show is actually helping in that regard because there's nothing to be ashamed of being naked. So even, you know, she's saying it's not going to affect the kids or whatever, but then she's saying it's going to help them feel less inhibited by their bodies and less ashamed about being naked and seen naked. So, you know, it's pretty obvious what she's saying. And again, this isn't about left or right. This is not a left-wing person. This is a mentally ill, sick, fucking weird person, in my opinion. All right. There he is, hopping through the night. I've also been debating maybe this criticism about John Dillerman being offensive, being bad, then maybe small boys will hear about this because children pick up on things like this and think maybe, oh, I'm bad for having a penis. My penis is bad. That would be the worst thing to happen from this debate. You know, because, you know, kids are going to hear about this debate and be like, oh, no, I'm a bad guy. I have a penis. It's just crazy. She's trying to put the blame on little kids or something like that. It's really just, I don't know. Thank God she's not involved in any Danish politics. Poor Danish people. But this is not the first time that Denmark, this is where it gets really fucked. I'm warning you. If you have a weak stomach, this part of the show is going to get fucked up. This is not the first time that Denmark's public broadcaster has made a show with controversial children's show, right? And it says that. It says has made a show with controversial children's show, right? Just to show you, I'm not fucking this up. No, we have that often. We have a guy called Uncle Ray J who likes to play heavy metal and who at some point encouraged children to become Satanists. And people were very offended by that as well. And that was on a Danish public broadcaster. All right. Okay. And also with nudity, we have a show where grown-ups take off their clothes in front. Children older than 4 to 8. They bring their school classes in, and then people with maybe disfigurements or who are transgendered or obesely fat or something like that, they take off their clothes and then the children are allowed to ask them anything they want. So if that's not the most disturbing thing that you will ever hear, and that's one cartoon I don't want to see anything about. That sounds like the thing of nightmares. Disfigured and transgendered and obese people come in and take off their clothes and the kids ask them questions. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Of course, I'm being sarcastic. That is fucked up. That's just fucked in fucking head. She says, whoa, the Danish way. That's what the broadcaster says. And, you know, I'm glad that they're at least like, what the fuck? The Danish way, to show them basically there's nothing wrong with the way you look. And that's one of the things that Danish television wants to tell these kids. Do you think that they will make another season then of John Dillerman? I think so. It's been quite popular. I mean, we're not the large country, so I heard it had been seen 86,000 times in first weekend here. I don't know who the fuck wrote this article. It said it had been seen 86,000 in the first weekend here. So I don't know who wrote this, but they should be fired. And after all this debate, I'm sure a lot of people will find it sometimes works for you having all this lively debate. So she's saying, you know, it sometimes works for you having all this lively debate. So if that's not fucked up, oh, look at that. Right at the bottom. Written by Sheena Goodyear. Shame on you, Sheena. Shame on you. If they paid you for this. That's just unfortunate. Q&A has been a interview produced by Gene Armstrong. Q&A has been edited for length and for clarity. Just so you know, it's nice and clear. All right, so let's go ahead and read this real quick. Danish Report discredits link between cartoons and child sex abuse. And this is from cbldf.org from 2012. The article was published July 25th in 2012. Comments are off for this thing. So yeah, the Copenhagen Post reveals that a report issued by experts at sexologist clinic discredits claims that cartoon depictions of underage characters engaged in sex acts encourage people to commit sex crimes in real life. That report to the image ministry details we have to acknowledge that there is no evidence that the use of fictitious images of sexual assaults on children alone can lead people to conduct sexual assaults on children. What? The report was ordered by former Justice Minister Lars Barfoed in response to calls to ban comics and animation depicting minors engaged in sex acts. Yeah, that's very conservative opinion, of course. Including prominent manga genres. It arrives less than 6 weeks after the Swedish Supreme Court overturned the conviction of a manga translator, Simon Lundstrom, on child pornography charges relating to manga files on his computer, and marks another positive development towards separating the prosecution of drawn images from photographs under child pornography laws. Fucked up. The Comic Book Legal Defense Fund, excuse me. The Comic Book Legal Defense Fund, which we all know, a group like that doesn't have any problems with their image at all being creepy. Comic Book Legal Defense Fund has been active in defending American readers of manga against false allegations that the comics in their possession constitute child pornography. Most recently, the fund scored a victory in this area when Canadian authorities dropped false importation of child pornography charges against American reader Ryan Matherson as a result of his CBLF supported defense. CBDLF Executive Director Charles Brownstein says, "We are pleased to see that this report was commissioned and gratified by its findings. Prosecutors around the world have been attacking comic readers with bogus child pornography allegations for too long." I bet you they're not masturbating while they're reading these things. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with hentai. Most hentai is not twisted like that, but apparently some of it is. Anyways, pornography allegations for too long. In the States, we've seen this trend bring tragic developments, such as the imprisonment of Christopher Handley, whose habit of reading manga, including sexual manga, it's called hentai, was acknowledged. I guess his fancy lawyer degree doesn't include verbiage like that. Was acknowledged by the government prosecutors as possessing no real threat to people, who is still bullied into pleading guilty and going to jail. It's not about a threat to real people. It's about the laws that are there. And in Canada, we've got laws that prohibit that kind of stuff, whether it's a fictitious depiction or whether it's an actual depiction. Brownstein adds, and I would like to know why he was in Canada, by the way. Why would he bring that stuff to Canada? Like, that sounds like work stuff. So Brownstein adds, child pornography is photographic evidence of a horrible crime against real people. Drawings are the product of artistic and imaginative expression. Governments need to stop treating people as interchangeable. We welcome the science in this report demonstrating that the comics are art and do not encourage people to commit sex crimes. It's not science. It's basically interpretation of the law. The Copenhagen Post reports, it's gratifying now that we have documents as far as we are aware there's no connection between animated child pornography and actual crimes. See, they even admit animated child pornography. What the fuck? And actual crimes, meaning there is no need to further criminalize this area. Michka Manga told Information, the whole affair is a classic example of something catching the eye of a politician who finds a need to symbolically change the law without actually looking at the facts. Fleming Marstein, the Social Democratic and Culture spokesperson, also welcomed the report. It's good that a sexologist clink has looked into this, Mueller told Information. As long as it cannot be proven that these drawings encourage damaging behavior, then I think we ought to protect freedom of speech and artistic expression. And to that accord, animated child pornography, apparently. That's what these guys are sticking up for, is right there in the text, just to show you I'm not making that up. Animated child pornography. Okay, stand up, guys. those two. So we're going to finish off real quick, and then we're going to take your comment to, and of course, that is Denmark. There is a difference between that, but let's think about it for a minute. There's been a lot of shows imported from different parts of Europe, like Pengu, for instance, and that was really popular on Canadian broadcasters. So don't think for a second that they didn't want to export the show somewhere. It's a new wave of weird culture. Let's check this out. This is something targeting your kids as well, and this is wonderful. Let's just so yeah, clearly they're targeting the kids. And what you didn't get to see is I brought up a video about Sesame Street having the COVID-19 town hall. They've got Elmo wearing the mask. They've got Grover saying, "Oh, I know all about vaccines." Oh, like what the fuck? And I gotta say, with the other anchors on CNN, like Tucker Carlson, rather, you know, it's not the first puppet. That's all I can say. It's not the first set of puppets that's been on that show. As we know, Tucker's had somebody's hand up his ass for a real long time. Thanks for watching, and remember, you got to speak up, you got to speak out, because eventually, saying that kids waving their dicks around in public and drawing pictures of a guy swinging his dick around in school is very conservative, and you shouldn't be saying. And we all know. Listen, I never supported Trump. I think he's just another puppet. Sorry if you're watching and you disagree and you trust the plan. Sorry about that. But I'll tell you, the way that they've criminalized the people who are marching there on the thing there or whatever, let's not get too specific, that's messed up. And that's what they're trying to do to people who say that sexualizing children is messed up. They're going to call you a threat to their nation. Thanks for watching. I'm Al Witten. Like, subscribe, and share this motherfucker. I'm out. Peace.